This is WHSV News 3 at 5.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Bob Corso.
And I'm Gloria Balding. We start with breaking news.
I'm Bob Corso.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Gloria Balding. That is our top story this evening. Investigators say his son stabbed him yesterday at his home in Bath County, then shot and killed himself. Neighbors trying to save a historic house in Waynesboro. They're one step closer after a city council vote. WHSV's Garrett Weimer joins us from that house. Garrett, what does this mean for the Arnold house? Thank you, John. The death toll in that attack in Kenya now stands at 62. Kenyans and foreigners were among those confirmed dead, including British, French, Canadians, Indians, a Ghanaian, South African, and a Chinese woman. Among the injured are at least 5 Americans, including 1 child. Well, Morgan, Bob, I have to say I'm channeling my best Brooke Charvet. Now, as we all know, she is the hostess of Dancing with the Stars right here on ABC. Now, if I have my best dancing dress on and my best dancing shoes, what could that mean? Only one thing. It is the big reveal tonight of the lucky 8 dancers for the 4th incarnation of Dancing with the Stars of the Berg. Now, I know you're sitting at home going, Gloria, just tell us. I can't. I have been sworn to secrecy. But if you want to find out who's dancing, you have 2 options. You can come down here to Court Square Theater. The big reveal is at 7 o'clock. You can sit in the chairs behind me. It's a lot of fun. Family, friends, everyone is cheering. Or you can tune in to the Valley's Fox 10 o'clock news or WHSV's 11 at 11, where I will be naming names. Now, Morgan, I happen to know who the MC of tonight's festivities are. It's a guy whose name that rhymes with Cobb Borso, and he happens to have moves like Jagger. Live in Harrisonburg, Gloria Balding, WHSV. Now, Bob, who could that be?
I don't know.
And following up on the terror attacks in Russia, 2 days, 2 suicide bombings, and at least 30 dead in the Russian city of Volgograd. WHSV's John Rogers is following the latest developments closely and what this could mean for the Winter Olympics set to begin in Russia in February. John?
So I just came over to the gym and that's how I got into it.
So maybe you're interested about taking an MMA class but are a little intimidated about taking that first jab? Well, have no fear. If I can do it, anybody can.
1, back foot turns, front foot turns.
Believe me, MMA training is a workout, but is it safe? The sport is banned in New York, Connecticut, and Vermont, all of them saying it is simply too violent. Right now, tracking crime in your area, a DMV employee in West Virginia is arrested for allegedly selling driver's licenses for cash. Thank you, George. Right now, we are hard at work on some stories for later in the newscast. Now, the Monday after the regular football season ends is typically a slaughterhouse for coaches, and today is no different. The Redskins are looking for a new coach. Mike Shanahan was fired today. Hear from the former coach on what he thinks of the Redskins. I'll have that coming up new at 5:30. And Virginia wine sales just broke a new record. Governor Bob McDonnell announced today that wine sales increased by about 5% over the last fiscal year. WHSV's Litza Pappas tells us why this is great news for the area. Litza.
But snow just the same. It is winter. Just a reminder.
Just a reminder?
Yes.
Because I was planning on wearing a T-shirt and shorts tomorrow.
Well, you know, last week we were sitting out by the pool.
That's true.
And yeah, so you got to remind people.
That's true. Thank you, George. The FAA announced today they will study drones, and one of the handful of places named to do the study, one of them is right here in the Commonwealth. We take you there up next. But first, here's your planning forecast for Waynesboro.
Last week they had, one of the days was Talk Like a Pirate Day, too.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I'm not. I remember that. And
Yeah.
we didn't make note of it. I think it was like last Tuesday or something.
Well, what surprises me is that there are actually rules to being a pirate. I thought it was just stealing stuff out of a ship.
Yeah, well, you know, piracy's been commercialized, so you got
Yes, it has.
you got to look like a pirate, not just talk like one.
There we go. Sorry,
Yes.
my apologies to my pirates out there.
Yes, and now to our fellow pirate, the mutineer, Aubrey Albanowitz. Aubrey.
Oh, you guys always crack me up.
With hands over hearts or raised in a salute, dozens stood in silence as Taps was played today to remember President John F. Kennedy on the 50th anniversary of his assassination. Kennedy's assassination had profound impacts on the country. People gathered around TVs in their living rooms to watch the breaking news that would define a generation.
This is Edward P. Morgan in Washington. I have just come from the White House. The president is dead.
50 years ago today, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated in Dealey Plaza in Dallas.
Something has happened in the motorcade route. There's numerous people.
The shock of the event impacted everyone, including those that worked at TV3. David Mowbray was a film director at the original studio on Raleigh Pike. 50 years later, he still remembers the moment he learned the president was dead.
I took lunch break. It was late. And when I got home, I went into Harrisonburg, my mother's house, and she'd give me lunch. So that was interesting. I got there, and she said, "Oh, have you heard? Have you heard?" And I said, "No, what?" That just came from the station. They shot President Kennedy.
The assassination rocked the country. Kennedy, his family were beloved. His wife, Jackie, was forever the woman in pink reaching across the back of a Cadillac toward the Secret Service. In grief, the nation turned to TV news in ways they never had before. His son's final salute to his fallen father, watched by countless millions, beamed into their homes. The assassination changed news forever.
It was an all-new venture. I mean, that thing really popped out, and it made everybody, wow, this is unreal. I just couldn't believe that the president was shot.
Every detail of the case covered by news crews. It wasn't just an anchor reading the day's news in your home. Networks were bringing the world into your living room.
People in the news, they boosted their news. It was a little bit more than rip and read at a 15-minute period or something like that.
It also changed what viewers saw. After Kennedy's death, viewers wanted to see film of the scene, not just still images. How you watch the news is just one of the ways that Americans are still impacted by the death of President Kennedy.
Now, Gloria, I know you are a history buff. What did you learn doing this story?
Actually, when I was talking to David, he said, and I didn't know this, that the assassination of Oswald was live on TV, no delays at all. And that really, really surprised me. But we actually, this is just a way to show the impact. This is actually one of our coworkers brought this in. His father collected news clippings all the way back from 1963 when this happened. And he has, if you can see this, he has about, I would say 15, 20 pages of cardboard with just news clippings. That's how much the assassination impacted everyday Americans.